sent me an article from The Athletic last week about potential extension candidates across the league. And one of the names on the list was Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Owusu-Koramoah.
You can tell it's been a while since Mike said that name.
I tried switching tabs as I was, and I just.
By the way, Mike, the article was actually the top 50 expected free agents next year.
Oh, it wasn't an extension.
No, it wasn't. I mean, they talk about it in the article, a possible extension for him, but the actual article was top. And what's amazing is, it's I don't know who wrote this article for The Athletic. I can't remember.
Jason Lloyd.
No, it wasn't Jason.
It was not.
Jason, please. He don't have time for that.
Trying to get me fired. It's a good thing I got a contract.
He's busy with Cleveland. There's a lot going on here.
I'm busy hating Cleveland.
That's right. He hates Cleveland. He hates all the teams. But JOK was listed as the number 6 free agent next year, ahead of a lot of big-time players that you wouldn't have thought.
Like who? You got something off the top of your head?
Amon-Ra St. Brown they had him ahead of. They had him ahead of T. Higgins. Those are the two off the top of my head I can think of. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, again,
he had a monster year last year.
But think about this, guys.
JOK.
Oh, yeah, he did.
So, Mike, the question is going to be, should the Browns be looking into an extension right now?
That is the question, yeah.
Right? Here's the crazy thing. You went from a year ago where DeQuell Jackson, and we've repeated this many times because it's worth repeating, DeQuell Jackson, arguably the best Browns linebacker since the team returned in '99.
Arguably.
Right? Who's in the competition?
Joe Schobert.
Stop it. What are you, out of your mind?
All right, Philip. All right, Philip.
I love Joe. I thought Joe and I were going to become friends.
Are you talking Pro Bowl Joe? Is that who you talking about?
Joe Schobert is not anywhere close to DeQuell Jackson. You're out of your mind.
Pro Bowl says
but anyway,
otherwise. Now DeQuell. Take that.
Should have said Dwayne Rudd.
DeQuell, who knows the position as well as anybody we've talked to, said this guy was a cut. And we don't bring that up to crap on DeQuell.
We
all agreed with him.
He was out of pocket.
It's to show how far
he's come.
JOK has come.
He was awful in 22. Awful. He looked unplayable.
Which tells you the importance of scheme.
No doubt.
He
went from unplayable to elite.
Yeah.
When does that ever happen?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I was praying that it happened because DeQuell Jackson started working with JOK last summer, and if JOK didn't play well last season, then that would have been a direct reflection of how DeQuell Jackson is as a coach. So, DeQuell, you got lucky because he had a really good season because I was so ready to throw you under the bus.
Oh, boy. Can you think of an example, anybody off the top of your head, of a football player that went from unplayable to elite in one season?
Unplayable to elite?
I mean, I thought, is it unfair? Am I stretching to say elite?
I think you're stretching. He wasn't unplayable because he played. He wasn't very good, but he wasn't unplayable.
He shouldn't have been playing.
I don't think he should have been. I think he just wasn't very good.
I thought he was kind of not out of position, but he was put in very
bad
few situations to succeed.
Bad to elite? Not good to elite?
I mean, it's rare. Yeah. Certainly, it's obviously, it's very rare. And it makes...
I got one.
Who?
David Njoku.
David Njoku was always kind of average.
I guess he wasn't unplayable.
Yeah, he was.
Now we switch it to bad. Was he bad?
David Njoku was just a guy. He was just an average. I shouldn't even say just a guy. He was an average tight end who, and even in my opinion, I don't think he was elite last year. He went from average to very good.
Well, let's table that part of the conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. The point is, it was a massive jump, but now he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. The Browns have never spent in recent years, under this regime, any kind of significant money at linebacker. Now, the way he played last year is his season last year was the best season by a Browns linebacker since at least Schobert and maybe since, I would say since DeQuell Jackson. He was more impactful last year. Joe Schobert was a good player, solid player. He was never as impactful.
Made plays. He did. Schobert was sound.
Right.
Like he made the play in front of you.
Right.
But wasn't impactful, I guess is the best way.
I think Joe was a poor man's DeQuell Jackson. I mean, that's kind of what
JOK made game-changing plays.
Yes. JOK, best linebacking play we've seen in a decade plus.
Yeah.
So, what do you do?
Well,
if you're the Browns right now.
I'd try and sign him now.
Yes.
I don't know what they're going to, but the price, I mean, here's the risk.
Yeah.
Which version are you getting? You've got one mid to bad year and one elite year. You would imagine with the same scheme, you're going to get the same results the second time around, but there is risk involved in that, in doing it now. But the price is only going to go up. If he's elite again next year, what's he going to get in free agency next year?
Right. $14 million a year?
Well, I went through and I actually looked at the top linebacker contracts in football. So you take 173 when you get a chance.
Now you're not.
Is it
talking
Roquan Smith that's number one?
Same kind of linebackers. You
They
can't have
they
like
just
a
separate it into linebackers. It's edge versus linebacker. So this is kind of non-3-4 defensive end linebackers.
Not like J.J. Watt's a linebacker.
No, but Roquan Smith got $100 million. This is sorted by average annual value. So, Roquan's got 20. Fred Warner 19. He's going to probably get in the Milano to Tremaine Edwards category.
Yeah, I was struggling because I was looking at this morning, and I was struggling to where to slot him because some of those guys are a lot older, obviously.
But have done it for multiple years.
So do you...
He definitely going to get more than 14.
You think he's
but
above...
I don't know.
What's he get right now?
He get more than 14 a year?
Today, like if I sign him today.
I think the Patrick Queen one...
Yeah. I'd sign him to the Patrick Queen deal now.
I'd sign him to the Patrick Queen deal
I think that's realistic.
Would he take that, though?
Yes.
You think
always take the money. He's one injury away. You're one injury away.
Especially in the NFL.
So this is the thing, Jason. This is the thing. What you saying right now is how from, I would say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago and back is how we thought. But these kids today are the biggest risk takers I've ever seen in my life.
We can have that conversation.
And they love to bet on themselves.
We can have that conversation about baseball and how many guys regret not taking money.
This is the thing.
Because I'm not paying him those top three right now.
No.
If he go out there, all right, so you put yourself in his shoes.
Right.
Do I take $13.6 million right now? Or I go out there, I had a crazy year last year. I'm only going to get better as year 2. They're going to use me a little bit more this year because coaches know that it's payday and they want to see me get paid. So they're going to use me even more so I can increase my numbers and I can get up to $18, $19 million.
And if I blow out my knee, I'm getting 2.
It's a risk you willing to take. We talking $5 to $6 million more dollars.
What's he made to this point? Because
not a lot.
What was he a second round pick? He had like $1 million or 2.
He and his family are set for life if he signs that contract.
His career earnings to date.
$2 million.
No, it's more than $2 million, but it is 6 and change.
So he's not hurting.
So no, he's already set for life.
He ain't hurting.
But I just
we'll
think
see.
You take the guarantee when it's.
But what I would tell you is, you only really you guarantee one opportunity to hit this thing big. So you got to, if you gonna do it, you gotta go big on this.
So you think he's gonna say no? If they offer him the Patrick Queen or something, maybe a tiny bit more than the Patrick Queen deal, you think he says no?
How much more are you talking? What's your number?
Can you show me that again?
What's your number?
Mike?
14 to 18. Let's say 14 to 18. Over how many years?
Let's split the difference. Let's go 16, right between Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah, let's say they offer him 16 guaranteed, $48 million total.
I think he's crazy if he turns that down.
I think he would take that. Yeah. I think he would take that.
Now I would do 14, that.
What about 56 over 4, with 45 guaranteed?
Oh, he would 100%.
I would take that too.
So that's $14 million. That's more the.
The second number is the average annual value.
The second number is the average. That's the total.
You said 56 with 45 guaranteed?
45 guaranteed.
I'd take that today.
I don't think that
4 years.
45 guaranteed. I would take that today.
14 a year. Yeah. 45 guaranteed. I don't think that's outrageous.
No, I would do that. I don't want to give him $100 million contract right now.
So we're gonna go from a position that they never valued.
But that's what I'm saying.
It's not my money. Jimmy's got it all. Pay him whatever.
So you're gonna go from a position that we never paid to paying him.
But
that's
one of the top on the defense.
What I would say to that is they've never had anybody worth paying in this.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Who you willing to part ways with after the season? Because somebody's gone.
Well,
somebody's gone.
Who? What do you mean? Who's got to be gone?
It could be a Genu. It could be Zadarius. It could be
one of the
Dalvin.
One of
it
the
could
guards.
be a guard. It could be. If you pay that, somebody's going to fall for this.
To me, JOK is way more important to the Browns the next few years. I'll say next 4 years than Greg Newsome. Way more.
Okay.
And we talked about this yesterday. The Browns when they hired Jim Schwartz, it was clear defensive front is the most important part of his scheme, and then the secondary, and then the linebacker.
Right, but he's a part of that front to some degree because he makes impact plays in the backfield.
I agree.
I would lock. I absolutely, and I can't believe this because we were talking about this guy couldn't play.
I know.
And I love the guy.
There's risk on the Browns side.
There is
on the Browns side.
Shame on DeQuell for coming on. Love,
but it's not just DQ.
He doubled down.
We all thought that.
I didn't say that.
Our eyes told.
I said that he was out of position. That's what I said.
The bottom line is he wasn't performing.
You're right. He was.
You're right. But he wasn't performing. Bottom line. And last year, think about the playoff game. He's the only guy that showed up on defense. The only guy.
To put into context how truly good JOK was last season. In his first 2 years in the NFL, combined 10 tackles for loss. It's just one stat. You can go across the board. These are pretty consistent across. 10 total tackle for losses. In 2023 alone, and he sat out one game, 16 games, he doubled his career total from his first 2 years, 20, and finished top 3 in the entire NFL. And from a linebacker position,
20?
I know not every stat is different for each position. 20 tackles for loss, top 3 in the NFL with Fred Warner and Roquan Smith.
And those are the two of the best.
And they've also done it.
So that right there, what you just said, Mike. I want Fred Warner and Roquan Smith
but those
money.
guys have done it for multiple years.
So that goes back to if I double down on this year or what I just did, I want to be highest paid.
If I'm him, I'm saying, well, I should be getting paid what they're getting.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying if I'm the Browns, I'm trying. In the end, I don't care. It's not my money. Jimmy's willing to spend it. All I know is they should sign him. That's it.
The moral to the story is that Jason knows, me and Jason, if you sign him, somebody is gone.
Greg Newsome goes. See ya.
Okay.
I like Greg Newsome.
Okay.
But I put it in the poll, Mike. I guarantee you, if you could only keep for the next 4 years Greg Newsome or JOK, 90% of people, maybe higher, would say JOK. How about you guys?
I'll make the poll right now, but I want to ask you this side question real quick. So we all agree they should extend or try to extend JOK.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will they, though? Will the Browns pay a linebacker? That's the bigger question.
I think they will. It's easy to say, well, they don't pay linebackers. Again, who should they have paid that they didn't?
I think
what you can say is even in free agency, they haven't gone out and spent on big-time linebackers.
You're right. That's true. But there's not that many linebackers that play that position that are that good. This
is tricky. This is a tricky subject.
Yeah.
Because, see, organizations fall for this every time. This becomes the topic of conversation every time. You always are hit with this dilemma. Is it the player or is it the scheme? That's the question that you got to ask yourself. Because if you think if it's the scheme, if the scheme is great and I know it works, then I can go get another guy and plug him in and it'll be fine. But see, a lot of people think that. They don't realize that the talent actually is a big thing. Like I say, I always think about Seattle. With the LOB, they let all of them walk because they said, we got the scheme, we got the perfect scheme in there. It don't matter who we put there. If they do what we tell them to do, they'll be successful. And they found out for a bunch of years that secondary was totally different without them guys. So I think the Browns are now faced with that same dilemma with JOK. Is it JOK? But then you got to look at a guy like Taki was out there last year. He played one of his best years, and he ended up getting paid. But he
didn't look like
what was he, McNuggets, in the pass coverage? He was one of the top pass coverage linebackers.
Yeah, he graded out well across the board in every statistic you want to
but he didn't make the impact anywhere.
I'm not saying that. What I'm telling you is they'll look at it and say, this is JOK and Taki were just guys. Until Jim Schwartz came and the scheme was so great that they became these guys. So they feel like maybe we can go get another guy that mimics them, and we can get the same production out of it. I'm telling you, it's a decision that they got to make, and that's something that the higher ups think of because I've watched it happen.
I think it'd be a mistake if they do that, but
I agree. I tell you what, every time that they thought it was the scheme over the player, turned out to be a mistake.
If they take a weak side linebacker in the second or third round,
that tell you everything you need to know. Tell you everything you need to know.
Because I don't think you can wait till next year to try and
replace him. No, you got to put him in the system now so he'll learn it.
So if they take a weak side linebacker, or if they take a linebacker second or third round,
I'll tell you what you need to know.
You'll know the JOK's future.
Mike?
So I put it in the poll,
just
like you asked. Who is more important to the Browns defense over the next 4 years, JOK or Newsome? It's only been up for 2 minutes. We have 150 votes. Before I tell you the result, around the panel, what do you think?
Does anybody think Newsome?
Yep.
You think he's more important than JOK?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
What do you think the percentage of the vote is?
90-10.
For Newsome?
No, 90-10 for JOK.
What do you think, Bull?
82 to 18.
Jason?
JOK.
I was thinking 80-20, so I'll say 70-30 just to be different.
With 137 votes, I will end the poll. It was exactly 90-10 JOK over Newsome.
Good.